Good morning, good morning, good morning. Maybe he's a great leader. Maybe he's just not a good leader for me. I wish I would have not downplayed him as a man and instead just realized from jump that we were not compatible. And is this an excuse or a reason? We end up quitting because we keep making excuses. I want to make it up to me. You know, like I want to spend the rest of my life finding different ways to love me. I've used enough excuse days. And until you can get there, I'll be your best friend. So good job. You're doing great. So get up and do it anyway. And I'll be right back here tomorrow.
This day that God has given me, I'm not gonna waste this joy deep down inside me. I'm not gonna shake. Been stressed for so long, so stuck in my own way.
Oh Lord. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Oh. It's been all right, let's go. I am very excited for this workout. I feel like it's been so long. I guess it really hasn't, but longer than normal. I talked about in my last vlog how I was going out of town for the weekend for my best friend's birthday. Still low-key lost my voice, but it's coming back. We had a time for sure, to say the least. It was a great time. I'm glad I got to celebrate with her. This is a friend that I've actually had since like high school days. I've known her for a long time. She'd be at every event. She was at my baby shower. She's been at every one of his birthday parties. She's been at every one of my birthdays. Like, that's my girl. That's my girl. So I had to make sure I was there. The weekend definitely did not go as expected or as I guess I hoped. On the way there, I was actually trying to tell myself not to have any high expectations because that used to be a big thing for me. So I guess that's what we're talking about because I just walked myself right into it. Expectations used to be a big thing for me because I had this solid plan written out for my life that I made myself. And so I always had such high expectations of every experience, every encounter, every conversation, everything. And when those expectations did not get met, I almost blamed God because I was mad. I'm like, why does nothing good happen for me? Why did this not go as planned? And God's like, I didn't tell you that was gonna go like that. You expected it to go like that. You ain't mad at me, friend. You mad at yourself. So I did learn to stop setting such high expectations and instead just expect God to move, period. Expect God's will to be done. Whatever God needs to be done in this weekend, that's what's going to be done in this weekend. And that's what I want. And that's, I guess, what happened. There is so much that I could talk about this weekend because so much happened. Not in a bad way, but there were some frustrating parts, some disappointing parts, some questionable parts. But overall, it was a really good weekend. I will say, though, that it was such a blessing to have a man there, because y'all know I brought my guy with me for most of the weekend, but it was such a blessing to have a man there that I trusted to lead me, and I didn't feel like I had to handle everything by myself. That was the most relieving feeling that I've had. In my last relationship, it was not that that man could not lead. It was that I could not submit to his leadership. We were just not compatible. And so now having a man in my space that I clearly am compatible with, that I very much trust to lead, it's like when anything comes up that we did not expect to come up, he handles it so beautifully that I just naturally go into my feminine energy. And I'm just like, okay, what can I do with my feminine nature to handle this situation with you? Like, I never feel left by myself to handle anything, and that's something that I didn't even realize I was missing. That's something I didn't even realize I needed, you know, to have that strong man there, that strong leader there to step up and be like, we did not expect this to happen. Now let's fix it. This is what we're going to do to clear it out. This is what we're going to do to fix it. Was beautiful. And then I can just sit there and be me. I can just sit there and be a woman, you know, like, okay, I know I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this, he already got this, he already got this, he already got this. Like, we make such a beautiful team And it's relieving. That's it. It's relieving. I did have an encounter recently with my son's father. So an ex. And he was here and he was helping me with something. And he needed me to hold the flashlight, right? I'm going to go somewhere with this. I'm not just telling you what happened, but he needed me to hold the flashlight for him. We were outside. It was dark. He was working on something. And so I was holding like this really big flashlight, and he's like, follow me here, follow me here, follow me here. Like, he needed to see. And so my only job was to hold the flashlight and follow him. I couldn't follow him. And it was such a moment for me. Obviously, I didn't speak it out loud, but in my head, I was having such a moment because I'm like, I can't follow him. Like, I'm trying to follow him. We knock in each other every 2 seconds because I can't read his energy, right? Like, my spirit ain't following his spirit. Like, I'm just sitting here feeling lost. And so I had this whole moment in my head. I'm like, thank God I have a person now that I naturally follow, because I swear it makes things different. I also was in my head thinking about the fact that I continued to say that my ex was not a good leader. And maybe that's just not the truth. Like, the more that I grow and heal and evolve and all these things, maybe that's not the truth. Maybe he's a great leader. Maybe he's just not a good leader for me. You know, just because I don't naturally submit to him does not necessarily make him a bad leader. Maybe we're just not compatible, because the person that I'm with now, I naturally follow him. I naturally submit to him. And this is coming from a girl that never thought I could submit. In that relationship that I was in, I always told myself, I'm like, I'm never going to get married because I can't submit the way other women submit. Like, I remember looking at some of my married friends and being like, how is she just naturally submitting to him like that? Like, how is she just naturally listening? That was a big one for me. And I remember feeling like I would never get married. I'm like, I can't get married. I can't be nobody's wife because I can't submit to anybody. I don't even know how to listen. You know, and I would down talk myself in all these ways when that really wasn't the truth. I very naturally submit. I very naturally listen to the right person. I was just listening to the person that wasn't compatible with me. I did not trust his leadership. And how does that be popping up? Like, raw truth is, I didn't really trust that man's leadership. You know, like, we had been through so many different things already, and I didn't trust that he cared about my well-being. I didn't trust that he cared about my mental or my sanity or my feelings or anything. You know, I wish I would have not downplayed him as a man and instead just realized from jump that we were not compatible, instead of destroying the both of us. Instead of both of us destroying each other throughout the whole relationship, we should have just realized that we were not compatible. I should have realized that it's not that I can't submit, it's that I can't submit to this individual, because in the new situation that I'm in, I so naturally submit. It's shocking. I'm like, did I really just listen to that man like that? I don't know who that girl is, baby, because I could never listen. I thought that I knew everything all the time. It's like, he very clearly cares about me deeply. And so when he leads, I know that he's leading us to a safe space. I also know that he cares about himself. So I know that if he's leading me where he's leading himself, I'm safe. And I love that. It really calms me down so much to not have to be in my masculine energy 24/7, to not have to be the leader in the group all the time, like to always be the one figuring it out, to always be the one doing all the math, right? It's been really calming for me to feel like, it almost makes me feel like I'm home. You know, like, to be in my feminine energy so naturally, to not be scared in this man's presence, to know that he's going to lead me where we need to be, to know that he's God-fearing, so God's leading him and he's leading me. Like, it's just such a relieving feeling that I can't even really explain unless you know what I'm talking about. To feel like I'm safe. I love that. And I'm blessed. I was definitely thanking God after that experience. Just for how he handled everything, how he always handles me. Not me writing a love story. I don't even know where that came from. But good morning. I'm going to go work out now. I really need to get my voice back. But that's okay. It was worth it. We had a blast. Let's go work out. Man, oh, man. I don't know where the rain came from, but whoop, here it is. I got inside the gym, right? And I went to the locker room. I went to change. Not me, y'all did like that. I got to the locker room and I went to change out my little pants and put my little gym clothes on, whatever. And I realized I didn't have no shoes in my bag, because I usually put my slides on when I walk out the gym, but last time I went, I didn't. And I forgot. So I didn't have no gym shoes. I only had my little Adidas slides. And I had to really tell myself, you're still gonna do it, Chelsea. Because all I needed was one little reason to go home, baby, and I would have went home. And so I had to tell myself, this is an excuse, not a reason. Like, you can still work out. You might have to switch up some workouts, but you're already here. Just do it. Like, is this an excuse or a reason? So let's talk about it. I think I talked about it in one of my vlogs, but I actually don't even know if I ended up posting that one. But I had to teach myself the difference between an excuse and a reason for me. And not because I'm one of those people that are so hard on myself and I never give myself a rest day. I ain't talking none of that weird stuff. I prioritize rest as much as I prioritize work. However, I used way too many excuse days in the past, to where I was just looking for any reason to not do something. Like, I was looking for an excuse as to not do what I told myself I was going to do. And so now, when I don't feel like it, when something comes up that may stop me from working out or from doing whatever, 333, I have to really sit there and talk to myself sometimes and decide if this is an excuse or is this a reason. Is this a valid reason as to why I cannot live up to what I told myself I was going to do? If it's a reason, as if I'm physically hurt, if I physically cannot go, if there, like, it's car trouble and I can't, if I don't have a car to use or whatever, if there's a reason why I can't do what I set out to do, then cool. Let's do something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can make something shake. However, if it's an excuse, baby, no. Respectfully, I don't know what works for y'all, but for me, I've used enough excuse days. Like, there's so many days looking back at my life that I sat there and decided not to do what I set out to do because of an excuse. Like, oh, I don't feel like it. You don't feel like it? You don't feel like going after your calling? You don't feel like chasing after your vision? You don't feel like showing up for yourself? That sounds crazy. I don't feel like it. Like, the fact that my gym shoes were not in the bag, that's an excuse to me in my head. That's not a valid reason to not work out the way that I went to do. That's not a reason. That's an excuse. For me, I ain't got that many more PTO days, baby. It's about to snow. Like, I'm not about to do all that. I gotta use them wisely. I gotta use my sick days wisely. And I think that's what happens to a lot of us, honestly. We end up quitting because we keep making excuses, and we keep using excuses and viewing those excuses as valid reasons as to not do what we told ourselves we were going to do. And then we end up going down this rabbit hole of constantly doing that, and then we end up not trusting ourselves. And now it's all a mess. It's all a mess. For me, nowadays, I just feel like I've done myself dirty way too many times. And so now I feel like I'm so dedicated to spending the rest of my life making that up to myself. Like, apologizing to myself in a real way and forgiving myself for all the pain that I put onto me. All the times I sat there and made excuses as to why I couldn't do what I told myself I was going to do. As to why I was lying to myself. Like, you know, making all these excuses all the daggone time. And then convincing myself that it was okay because I had an excuse. And nowadays it's like, I want to make it up to me. You know, like, I want to spend the rest of my life finding different ways to love me, to pour into me, to make my life better, to make myself better, to make my body better, my mindset better, my prayer life better, like every aspect of my life. I just want to be better. Not perfect. I think that's why I'm able to stay so consistent, because I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm just aiming to be better than I was last year. I'm aiming to be better to myself than I was in my 20s. I'm making it up to me. And it's fun, honestly. It's fun to do that. It's fun to live that soft life to where I just want to love me unconditionally. So yeah, safe to say I did the workout anyway. And it was nice, actually. It was nice to be able to finish the workout and be like, you know what, you did that. And my gym uncle came up to me during my workout and gave me a little And he was like, you're doing it. Like, you didn't have to do it because you forgot your shoes and you did it anyway. And I was like, thank you for saying that. Because I was just saying that to myself in my head. You have to learn to hype yourself up the way that the people love you hype you, if that makes sense. Like, why are people hyping you more than you're hyping yourself? That's our number one problem. Other people love you more than you love you, and that's not a good thing, baby. Now, I'm not going to preach on it or nothing, but I'm just saying, because I was already hyping myself up in my head, I was already patting myself on my back, I was already saying, good job, Chelsea, you did that. You did what you set out to do, even though you had an excuse not to. So when my gym uncle came up to me and told me I was doing good, like, good job for doing that, it was confirmation of what I was already feeling. It was not validation. You know, there's a difference. The reason that you seek validation from other people is because you don't give that to yourself. You're never hyping yourself up in your head. You're always tearing yourself down. And so then when somebody comes up and says good job, that's the only good job you've heard in a long time. I'm just saying. And I had to stop doing that to myself. I had to stop being my own worst enemy. I had to stop being the one that tears myself apart in my head all the time. So now when somebody comes up to me and they say good job, or they say you're beautiful, or they say you're great, or they say they love my energy, whatever the compliment is, it's confirmation of what I'm already feeling about myself. And it hits different. It hits different. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was already telling myself that in my head. I had to learn to love myself unconditionally. So even when I make mistakes, stupid mistakes, like, oh, I forget my gym shoes, it's fine, Chelsea. We're gonna get it anyway. Moral of the story is, get it anyway. Stop wasting your excuses. You ain't got that many PTO days left, baby. Like, use them wisely. Show up for yourself regardless. Don't use excuses as reasons, because they're not reasons. Sometimes they're just excuses, and those can be distractions from the enemy trying to stop you from going after what you told yourself you were going to go after, or from going after what God called you to go after. So use them wisely. Be easy and love yourself. Pour into yourself. Stop being your own worst enemy. It don't have to be like that. You don't have to go through life miserable being a stranger to yourself. Go through life being your best friend. And until you can get there, I'll be your best friend. So good job. You're doing great. Keep going. Don't lose the faith. I know that it's like burnt out season, I feel, for a lot of us. On the Zoom call last night, on my ladies night Zoom with my Patreon girls, there were so many of us, we were like, oh, I'm so tired, like, I'm just done for. Like, this is that season where the weather changes and the holidays are it's fast paced, you know, and it's very easy to get burnt out, but you're killing it. You're doing a good job. Don't give up. Stay obedient even when it's hard. Do it even when you're scared. Do it even when you're exhausted. And I'm right here with you, child. So we're gonna have to do this thing together, because I am tired. I'm tired, and all I needed this morning was a reason not to do it, and I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a reason not to do it. All I could find was excuses, so I did it anyway. So get up and do it anyway, and I'll be right back here tomorrow, probably just as tired, but we're gonna do it anyway. Go be great. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, friends.